Okay, we are live on Monday, April
6th.
6th. April 6th. I did not schedule our Facebook stream last night like I usually do. So it may take a few moments for people to join on because usually I have the broadcast set and people can join before we even start. Hi, Margot. Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you going to go outside and play today? It's so beautiful.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's a perfect day. We actually already went for a little adventure outside because we get an early start around here.
Yeah.
And we're studying amphibians this week in the Elm Street School. So we went to the nature center to walk around their pond.
Oh, nice.
Amazingly, miraculously, found a salamander, which was,
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I might take the kids there this afternoon. I need an outing for the afternoon.
Beautiful. And the frogs are singing. We saw frog eggs in the pond. And, if you turn over like logs and small stones and near any of those like vernal pools, you might find a salamander. They're really tiny. At least this one, is probably only like 2 inches long. And they look like little snakes with tiny legs.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Well, we have our first question. So Cammie and Marin are there, and they're wondering whether we can use a soda can instead of a tin can today. And I think that would be fine. You're because I don't think you have to. I think you could still. Just trying to keep that through a bit. I think that would be absolutely fine. We'll talk that through as we get there, the adjustments stuff, but I think it would absolutely be fine.
What is the matter? So you could definitely, the soda can's probably going to be even thinner and easier to work with in some ways than the aluminum can or the tin can. But the challenge with that will be the taking the top off so that you can put a candle inside.
That's right. Right. So you're going to want to, when you make your luminary, Marin, you basically need the top off so you can put a candle into your can. And so if you cut the top off, you're just going to want to make sure it's not sharp. So if you were to cut it off, I would just maybe put some tape or maybe even like clay or something around it, just to make sure that edge on the top is not sharp. We can wait a few more moments.
Yeah, like duct tape or electrical tape might work well.
Oh yeah, that's even smarter. Yeah.
Again.
So we're going to be getting our oven preheated to 400 degrees. Margot is climbing today. She's climbing up Mom.
Yeah, so our other activity has been I ordered them a new swing for the backyard, which has been great, but she wants me to push her on the swing.
Oh, I get it, Margot. I get it. Margot, if we cook some chickpeas, maybe that would be a good time right after that.
Yeah, we'll do that right after class, I promise. All right, so your oven is preheating to 400. This is, I hesitate to call it a recipe because it's pretty simple, but this is a snack that we cook, I would say like probably twice a month in this house, and then have them on hand. They're a great snack. I feel pretty good about my kids eating them because they're full of fiber. The version I make doesn't have any sugar, but you could make it like a sweet, sugary version, which we're going to show as well. Yes.
So we're making chickpea. What do we call them? Chickpea.
I call them chickpeas. They're garbanzo beans as well.
But they're like roasted chickpeas, basically, right?
Roasted chickpeas, exactly. And you can buy them at the store, but they're not cheap to buy pre-made, and you only get a little bit. So we make them at home. It's easy, and then we have a lot. So you want to help me or no? Okay.
So the first step is to rinse your chickpeas, right?
That's right. So if you've opened up a can before, they come in a liquid. It's kind of foamy, and I've heard that you can use that liquid for something, but we don't. We just dump it. So I have some here that I already drained, and then I'm going to go ahead and drain a second can because I usually double the batch while I'm at it. So.
Okay, and so once we've drained them, you're saying you had mentioned to me before that we should dry them a little bit?
Yes, because really what you're going for is for a crunchy, crispy chickpea, and so you want to get as much liquid off of them as possible to start.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just rinse them. I'm not exactly sure what the purpose is, but I've always been told you should rinse them when they come out of the can, so that's what I'm doing.
It probably helps them to dry a little bit if they're just wet with water instead of the liquid that they're packed in. And so I just put mine on a cookie sheet with a paper towel underneath them after I drain them.
Yes.
And I'm patting it dry.
That's right. So that's just going to get some of that water and liquid off. Obviously, they're still when you put them in the oven, but for whatever reason, this helps them crisp up and get to that like nice crunchy texture as opposed to like a soft, chewy texture.
Okay, great.
So I'm going to just pat them dry a little bit. Wes, I'm working on my class right now, and you can help me, or you can color, and then when I'm done, we're going to go on the swing. I know you always want to watch a show. That is the #1 battle in this household.
Oh, Laura, I have lost that battle.
Anyone
I'm
else?
not fighting it anymore.
Okay.
I lost it a week ago, so we're good.
Sometimes it's important to know when to just admit defeat. That's
They admitted defeat a week ago, and we're good. Although right now the boys are outside playing, which is
the perfect day for it. Okay,
yeah.
so I'm gonna put the chickpeas in a bowl.
Okay.
And come back to the cookie sheet in a moment. So I'm doing 2 cans, like I said, and so that's gonna affect like the ratios of the seasoning a little bit, but
Okay.
do 1 can if that's what you have. I was also researching to see, like, does this work with other types of canned beans? I've never tried, but from my Googling, it sounds like people have done it with red beans, and it's pretty good. It's a slightly different texture.
Yeah. I wonder, too, if you could do it with, like, frozen peas or not.
Come on over here.
Because I always love wasabi peas.
Right, yeah.
And I wonder if you could take, I mean, it's, you know, a chickpea is it's a bean. I mean, it's a seed, just like a pea is. And so I'm sort of curious. And it's kind of timely to be doing something with frozen peas right now, because this is when we put our peas in the ground too. If anybody's planting peas, this is the week to do it.
That's a good idea, because peas are something that aren't very popular. So I wonder if I prepare them that way, if they might be into it.
Yeah, I wonder.
Frozen peas.
I have to look into that.
So now that the chickpeas are dry-ish,
Okay.
coat them in oil. So I would say start with about a tablespoon for each can of beans that you're using, and kind of see how that looks. Basically, you just want them to be coated. They don't need to be swimming in oil. Give that a stir. I'm actually going to add 1 more, so that's 3 tablespoons of, I'm using olive oil for 2 cans of beans. So if you're using just 1 can, maybe 1.5 tablespoons would be good.
Okay.
All right. And then I'm going to season them.
And this is where I think you can get creative, right? I mean, I think my kids are pretty basically like salty things.
Yeah, so I think if you like different flavors, you could experiment and make like versions of this recipe. Like you had mentioned the other day making, what were we making that you said maybe you could do a buffalo sauce? And I was like, ooh, that would be really good with the chickpeas, like a hot.
Oh, interesting. Like you could coat a little with like a Frank's Red Hot or something.
Exactly, and some like cayenne pepper. I also mentioned to Jen that I have done it with, let's see if I have any back here. Oh yeah, like ranch seasoning. I keep this, in the pantry to mix with sour cream and make like a ranch dipping sauce. Done this on chickpeas, and that's really good.
I was thinking, I have that. I don't know if you ever go to the spice store in downtown Mystic.
I haven't. I'm so overdue to visit them.
The Spice and Tea Exchange. They always have to sample one day soon. This garlic. They do garlic mix, and they also have an onion mix that you can mix with sour cream. And they always have that out for sampling.
Yeah.
But I bet this would be really good on it as well.
Hey, Wes.
Spice would be good. I bet cumin would be delicious. You know, or the Old Bay. Going back to that good old Bay.
So if you like that flavor, you could try that. If you're going to do a sweet version, so sorry, I'll finish up with the salt.
Yeah.
So I'm using a salt grinder, so it's hard to measure, but I just turned it so that I can see they're sort of like evenly distributed and covered.
And I think you can also taste it and just see if it's too taste, right?
If you like it to be salty, add more salt. If you're watching salt, add less. Oh my goodness, look at this friendly, happy kid over here.
Wes, no, I can ask you, is this a snack that you like, Wes?
It is, and
The
you
Chickpeas
not ready yet. Not yet. Okay.
Okay. I might do these like this.
And just a little bit of pepper because my kids sometimes think that tastes spicy. So I use less pepper. More salt, less pepper, but you can customize it to whatever you like.
Marin's going to do the cinnamon sugar combo.
So if you're going to do cinnamon sugar, which is also really delicious, you would, I would say maybe add like 2 tablespoons of sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon. The cinnamon is kind of like, it can be potent, so add less of that than the sugar. Nice thing about that recipe, you need to wait just a minute. The nice thing about that is that the sugar sort of caramelizes when it roasts, so it gets like, you know, almost like kettle corn.
Oh, yum, yeah.
So now that the chickpeas are ready, I'm just gonna lay them on the cookie sheet. And I don't need to do anything to prepare it because the chickpeas themselves are coated in oil.
Just spread it out a bit.
I'm just gonna give it a shake so that they're in one layer.
Well, and Laura, I can take it from here for the next one.
They're going to go into the oven. So I'll give you just a minute. They're going into a 400-degree oven.
Okay.
And then I usually set a timer for 10 minutes, and I check them every 10 minutes for about 40 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to put that up on a banner. It's a timer for 10 minutes, and then check every 10 minutes for a total of about 40 minutes. And that is to make sure that they get nice and crunchy. So I think you can just kind of be tasting along the way. My middle son absolutely loves chickpeas. And so if I were to be doing this with him today, I am pretty sure he would just have eaten them all. He happens to be outside, so that's why they actually got into the oven today.
Okay, so while those are cooking, and like I said, it takes about 40 minutes total. You want to check it every 10 minutes and kind of shake it and stir it so that they don't like stick to the pan and they get rotated so that they roast evenly.
Sure.
So in the meantime, we're going to do our craft.
And I'm happy to get started on the design ready. Does that help?
Sure, thank you.
So the first thing we're going to do is take the paper off the can, I guess, right?
Yes. So you want a plain can, no label.
Okay, clean can, no label. So we take the label off, and I rinsed this can out a little bit earlier. If your can has a sharp edge on the top, you may want to just take some sandpaper to it, or maybe put some tape on it. This was a can that peeled off, so it's not very sharp, which is good. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of paper, and you're going to measure the paper width. It doesn't have to be exact, but you can just kind of fold it over to make sure it's the width of your can, just like this. And then wrap it around your can so that you can see how wide your can is. So, for example, my can would end there. So you're basically putting paper all the way around, and what you're doing here is creating a piece of paper that you can use. I lost my scissors. Oh, there they are. To make a design for what you're going to be tapping into your can later. Because what we're going to eventually do is to be taking a nail. I think I've lost my nail too. It's all on my table. Oh, there it is. We're going to be taking a nail, and I'll come a little bit closer, and we're just going to be tapping with a hammer holes in the can so that when you put a candle inside, the light will shine through. And so you're basically going to be making a design on your paper for your holes. So you're making basically like circle design. So let me show an example. So let's say we did a flower, you would be making, this is not the start of a flower, but you're making a pattern that looks like this so that you could use this to create the holes with the nail.
Yes, so that tip of designing it on paper first is a good one because then you can get it just the way you want it. In the past, we did this summer at the farmhouse and I did it just sort of freehand. So that's what I'm doing now. And I put a W for Wes, my son's name. I'm gonna write out Wes.
So you made the dots right on the can. And the reason we're saying this is an idea is because what you're gonna wanna do is actually fill this with water and freeze it. And the reason for that is so that when you poke with the hammer, you're not bending the can itself.
Right.
And it's easier to go through. You're not hurt. It's a little bit safer.
Right. And yeah, it makes it a lot easier. So in the meantime, while you are waiting for your water to freeze, you can plan out your design.
I'm going to put my can I just filled it with water. I'm going to put it in the freezer for later.
So if you're ready to go, I am. So we've got this drawn out. And you also want a dish towel to kind of hold it steady to work because obviously it's round and will kind of wobble. And then you're just gonna take a nail. I found one that was long, but I think, pretty much anything will work. The longer one is just easier to hold. And I'm gonna place it on the dot. If you think of this as sort of like a connect the dots picture, the light is gonna shine through and you'll be able to see the design with the light. All right, so then I'm just gonna tap a little bit with the hammer until I punch through, right? So I did that for probably 10 seconds and it easily punched through. And then I'm gonna move on to the next dot. So Jen had asked, is it pretty easy for kids to do? And I would say yes. I wouldn't do it with somebody as small as Margot because she's just going to have a hard time following directions. But Wes is 4 and he could do this with supervision for sure. You do not need a lot of strength to get the hammer to punch through. And the nail isn't really sharp. So you don't have to worry too much about that. The only thing that can be a little tricky is this inside ridge can be sharp. So if you take a look at it and kind of run your finger on it, grown-ups, and it feels kind of sharp, you could take some sandpaper and just run that along the inside to kind of file off any edges. Or like Jen was saying earlier with the question around could you use a soda can, you could also coat the edge with clay, make sort of a lip, or with duct tape or electrical tape, something to cover it so that it's not sharp at all.
And then when we put our candle in, are you putting it in so that the candle's sitting on the bottom, or are you putting it in and covering it? I guess if you cover it, it will
the smoke, right? So so once you have your design complete and you've punched all the holes through and you have it just the way you want it, then you're going to let the ice melt and come out of the can so that's just empty. You may have to take your hammer and I won't be able to do it now because this is still frozen, but once the can is empty, hammer the bottom to make it flat again because the water in the can freezing kind of expanded it and it's not flat. So it wobbles a little bit. But once it's empty, I'll be able to flatten it and then it will sit flush on the table. And then I have a little tea light. I went to IKEA over the summer and they sold them in packs of 200. So I have quite a few of these. But even better would be the little switch on electric battery. And obviously that's safe for kids. And Wes has one like that he made at a craft fair and he keeps it in his room like a little nightlight and it's really sweet. So yes, when the can is empty, I would then put the tea light inside so it will sit in the bottom of the can and then you can use one of those grill lighters.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to wait just a minute. Grill lighters to light it. And then, as I said, the light will shine through the little openings and you'll have a beautiful design or pattern. Hi.
I love it.
Come over here.
So I am finishing up my design. I like the idea of doing the initials. So I have one for Ella, Cole, and Maxwell. And then when the water's frozen, I'm just gonna wrap this around my can and use the nail to go ahead and shine through. We'll take a picture tonight. We can post our finals. It'll be so pretty to post those at night. You can see the light shining through.
Just a minute. Okay, so then my timer is at.
I think mine went in at 13. Mine's just about 10 minutes. Are you at about 10 also?
Okay, so you don't have to take these out, but since I'm one-handed, it's going to be easier for me to do it. You know, if you're not holding a toddler, you can just reach one hand in the oven and either kind of shake the tray. So like give it a good shake. They're round. They'll kind of roll around. You can see the steam coming off of them. That's the water evaporating. So that's what's going to allow them to get really crunchy and crispy.
Okay.
Or you can take tongs, there we go, and just kind of move them around. The goal is for them to all be coated and to be evenly crispy. So once I've done that, whoops, I'm going to put it back in and set the timer for 10 minutes again.
Okay, and as a note, I just tasted one, and they're absolutely delicious at this stage also. They're like actually like soft and creamy and salty, so I'm hungry and you don't want to wait right now.
Yeah, she wants to go on the swing.
Good, Laura. I think it's swing time. I think it's time to go on the swing.
I was just going to say that if they are a little underdone or you take them out early, they're really good on salads when they're a little bit softer. Otherwise, let them cool, and then you can store them in a container like Tupperware or a glass jar, and they'll last for weeks in the cupboard.
Wow. Okay, great. Excellent. All right, Laura, you go to the swing. We are good.
Okay. They're so good at getting what they want. It's really amazing.
Oh yeah.
I'm just loud and persistent enough. I will get it. All right, we're out of here. Can we say peace? Thank you. Enjoy the sunshine.
Thanks. You too. Have fun, Margot. So that's it for today. 40 minutes with the chickpeas in the oven until they're nice and toasty and crunchy, and checking them every 10 minutes. And I can't wait to see what everybody's can looks like when they're done. I think they'll be beautiful to shine in the window at night. And I hope everybody's having a lovely start to their Monday and that they had a relaxing and restorative weekend. And we will see you tomorrow. We have some fun things planned for the week. Take care.